Alright class, how are you doing today? Welcome back to Computer Information Systems. I am looking at activity number 2 in Microsoft Excel. And I first want to compliment everyone who accomplished Excel assignment number 1. I really appreciate the effort. I also want to say I appreciate the folks who have had technical difficulties and have continued to try to keep in touch with me to try to troubleshoot and figure out how to get access to the work. And I wanted to encourage you guys to keep at it. If you are trying to access the assignments or the videos and you're having issues, just communicate with me. There are students here who have made it work, and I can help you, or I can get you in touch with one of the other students who has gotten the work done so that we can get you on the right page. As of right now, you guys have probably heard that we will not be coming back to school, or at least in person in the building, for the rest of the school year. The governor has sent down word that we will be staying home for the rest of the school year. And while that leaves a number of very, very important questions, I don't have answers for you right off the bat. I do know that our superintendent, our administrators, and all the people that are in charge of your education are working very hard to figure out exactly what that means for all of us. In the meantime, we are continuing to provide coursework, and that is important because we want to be able to show that we are still actively learning and that we are able to accomplish the goals of the class so that we can still maintain credit for the class. That is important for me as a teacher providing the work, and it's important for you guys as the students showing that you are working. Obviously, these very strange times means that we all have to be very flexible, and I intend to do that. But like I said, you do need to at least show me that you're putting forth a good faith effort to access the work, and you need to keep trying with me until we can figure out a solution to your work. Okay. That was a whole aside there, but what I want to do is I want to give you an assignment with Microsoft Excel, and being that COVID-19, the novel coronavirus that has left us all stuck at home, is on the forefront of everyone's mind, I thought this would be a great time to show the importance of statistics and how we can use that in Excel. An Excel spreadsheet is a good way to demonstrate what is going on with the numbers of different events, businesses, business events, might be the money that you're making and the expenditures that you're making each quarter of a year. It might be the grades that teachers are giving out to their students. It might be, the amount of people that are going to being incarcerated in jail, and for what for what infractions. But it's also really important in the moment of a crisis that we are keeping track of numbers so that we understand the problem and we can make informed decisions about it. So with that kind of as a backdrop, I am going to provide you with a link in the assignment instructions to a very numbers-based website that is keeping track of the coronavirus and its numbers throughout various countries and states. If you follow this link and you come to this website, you're going to see some statistics up here. If you scroll down, you will see that you have access to a number of different countries, and where we're going to start is in the United States, USA. If I click on it, it will take me to the statistics for the individual states. Now, I want to make sure that our statistics are complete. So, whereas the Now button that I'm showing up here is happening in real time, if I click the Yesterday button, I will see that this has complete statistics for a 24-hour period of time, which was yesterday. Looking at my screen, I'm doing this on the 24th, so that would mean that this is on the 23rd. Okay, so I have this open and I'm going to set it aside for a moment because those are the statistics I'm going to use. We then need to make sure that we're accessing our Microsoft Office 365. See our previous posts. If you're not sure how to access this, you should make sure you're doing these and following them in order for the skills and for the activities. If you need to go back, I would encourage you to do so now. But now that I'm in Office 365, and by the way, you might want to bookmark this tab so that you can come back to it easily in the future. I'm going to go and click on Excel to open a brand new workbook. Alright, so at this point what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a basic spreadsheet that's going to record my information. At the top in cell A1, I'm going to type coronavirus statistics. That's A1. In A2, I'm going to put a label, and that label is going to be date. If I press tab, I'm going to enter the appropriate date for when I am getting these statistics. So if you're not doing this today, which I imagine a lot of you are done for the day, you'll be doing this tomorrow, your date might show differently than mine. Remembering to press enter whenever I add information to make sure that it is actually saved in the document. Now I'm going to A4 and I'm going to create my column headings. My column headings are going to be state. I press tab. Now I'm going to write total cases. Tab. New cases. Tab. Total deaths. You can probably hear my son washing his hands in the next room. New deaths. Alright. So I want to leave room for 5 states. The first state that I'm going to do is going to be Virginia. When I hand this over to you, you're going to enter in the 4 other states of your choice. I'm going to skip a row, and in cell A11 I'm going to put in country, and underneath country I'm going to put USA. Now I could go ahead and I could type out these exact same headings down here, but I want to show you that in Excel we can copy and paste just the same that we could in Microsoft Word. So I have to make sure I highlight, I drag across B4 to E4 to make sure that those cells are highlighted. I can use my keyboard shortcut just like normal, Control C or the copy button. Select B11 and paste with Control V or the paste button. Okay, Now I have these numbers written down, and just so that I can do it quickly for demonstration, I'm going to put these numbers in, but you guys can take your time finding the statistics for your day, as well as for your 4 other states and your 4 other countries. But in Virginia, as of 3/23, we had 254 total cases, 35 new cases, 110 total deaths, and 15 new deaths. Okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to double check those numbers just to make sure. I'll do this to sort my numbers. Okay. Oh, it looks like I got those numbers a little bit wrong. So, I skipped up a line, so that's 7 and 4. Those are much less scary numbers right there. Not that any of these numbers are good. Alright, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in similarly US information. Now on the website, I can go up to the top here. There's a number of ways I can do this. I can click right here where it says countries, and if I scroll down I can see US of A right here to get those numbers. Just while I'm here, I'm going to double check that my numbers from yesterday are correct. Alright, so we got, I'll split screen this for myself here. Alright, so as of yesterday, 43,734 new cases. We've got 10,168, and total deaths we've got 553. New deaths we have 140. Okay. I want you to notice that when I'm entering numbers into an Excel spreadsheet, I'm not including symbols like the commas between the numbers, and I'm not including symbols like the plus sign. Those can be done a different way and should be done a different way, and we'll talk a little bit about that today and more as we go. So at this point, I have information and column headings for one state, information and column headings for one country. I've got a title, I've got a date. You, on your time, will fill in the information here with 4 more states of your choice and 4 more countries of your choice. What we're going to do after this information is filled in is we're going to do a little bit of formatting. Oh, one quick aside note, we are going to make sure that we include source information. We're getting this information from a website. We need to give proper source information. So click on A18 and we're going to type the word source. I'm going to press tab, and here I'm going to paste in the website address. In B18. Okay, so with this activity we're going to look at some more formatting features that are available to us, and then we're going to work on some other information after that. So let's start with our title. Coronavirus statistics, we want to make sure that this stands out in a kind of a serious way. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put our information in Arial black. This is a naturally bolded font. We are also going to make it stand out with a larger font size. We're going to go to 20. Alright. Right now, this title, although it looks like it spans multiple cells, it really is only in cell A1. If I click in B1, remember our formula bar tells us what's in the cell, and B1 we can see is empty. C1, D1, they're all empty. What I want to do for something like this, which is a title, which is after I have my boundaries of my tables that I'm creating, is I generally want to merge my title across the exact number of columns I'm using. This looks nice, and it's also going to make things work for us better in the future. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight from A1 where the information is across to E1 whereas the end of my table of information is, and in the Home tab alignment group I'm going to click on Merge and Center. It's looking a little cramped in here. We're going to fix that in just a moment. So as we discussed in our previous activity, one thing that we can do to give our information more space is by changing the width of our columns. We do that by hovering between the letters at the top and dragging to the left or right. Depending on the length of your state names and the length of your country names, you may or may not need to do this in column A. I don't, but you should if your states and countries don't fit nicely. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give column B a little bit more breathing room. These things fit okay, but not great. I'm going to drag just a little bit to the right. I'm going to continue to do that, expanding C, expanding D, and expanding E, so that each of my headings has plenty of room. You'll notice that by increasing the size of those columns, now my title fits very nicely as well. Let's apply just a little bit of style. I'm going to take my date as a subtitle and I'm going to give it an italic font style. I'm going to take my column headings, state, total cases, total deaths, and new deaths, and give it bolding type style. It's also very common for column headings to center those that text in the cell. I'm going to find this in the alignment group. Here is my centering. I want to match that down here. There's a number of ways that I can do that, but I think this is easy enough just to apply bold and centering with the buttons. Okay, for my numbers, I want them to look a particular way. I'm going to drag across the area. Now you'll notice I can actually do this before I add my data, before I add my numbers. You might be doing this after you've gathered all of your numbers. In either case, I'm highlighting the area I want to change what's called my number format. The number format is an important thing when you're dealing with a lot of numbers to make sure that those numbers make sense visually. What I want to do with these numbers is I want to make sure that I add the comma style to them. You're not going to notice commas on these numbers because I'm not going into the thousands, but you are going to notice that for some reason it adds the decimal value. Now, we do not want a decimal value for these kinds of numbers, and this brings about a good example. We can't have a partial person sick with coronavirus. We can only be working with whole numbers, and we want to make that very clear to our reader, so we make sure that those numbers reflect that. While I have this area still highlighted, I'm going to use in my number group these buttons to decrease the decimal points being displayed. This area right here deals entirely with how is the number displayed. I'm now going to do the same thing for this area down here, highlighting B12 through E16. I'm going to apply my comma style, and again I'm going to reduce my decimal points so that I am not showing any decimal points. You'll notice now that I have a comma here. There are reasons why we want to do this rather than typing the comma. The short explanation for that is that if I type the comma, Microsoft Excel will treat this batch of numbers as if they are a word, as if they are text. And later, when we want to introduce the idea of formulas, you're going to realize that that is going to cause some issues. So, rather than typing the comma, we use the number format. We also have the ability here to apply some other formatting to make our tables look nice. We can include background colors. If I click on the title, this is just like Microsoft Word. We have fill colors. Make sure that you are not using standard colors, as they tend to be too bright and dramatic on the eyes. Instead, we use our theme colors towards the top, which have different amounts of value. I'm going to apply color to my title. To my column headings, I'm going to apply a matching or similar color or a complementary color. I'm also going to put in an underline style. Here in the border section, this should look familiar to you from Microsoft Word with working with tables. I'm going to use the top and thick bottom border. And I'm going to do that again with the series of countries and those headings. All right. We could change text color, we can change text size. All of those tools that we're familiar with are here in the font group, although there's a little less, and then you notice there's no dialog box launcher. That's because we're working in Office 365. I did want to show you one other thing, is that we can, just like we change the size of our columns, we can also change the size of our rows. If I click and I drag down to make my title nice and large, this might look a little funny, but I want to use that as an opportunity to also show you that we have our vertical alignment buttons here as well. So I'm going to middle align my coronavirus statistics. We've done a lot of things with formatting. We talked a little bit about copying and pasting, getting the beginnings of our tables to look really nice. We talked about the importance of number formatting, merging and centering, and some other things as well. If we can get to this point and you can have that information in there, I will return this back to you, and we're going to expand a little bit upon this information and this table that we're working on to show some of the other features that we have in Microsoft Excel that can help us make these numbers make sense and to do different things with them, including formulas, charts, and tables. File, Save As. We're going to save a copy online, and this one we are going to call Excel Activity 2. Another thing that I wanted to try, and I'm not sure if y'all are interested and available, but tomorrow, let's see, from 11 to 12, I'm gonna create a Zoom conversation where we can all get online and talk face to face. We can use that as kind of like office hours where you can talk to me about any questions that you have regarding grades, assignments, getting things to work. And if you just want to say, hey, what's up, Mr. Cifaldi? Because I'd love to see you guys. I do miss you, and I'm very sad. I don't think it's fully hit me yet exactly what it means that I'm not going to be seeing you guys for the rest of this year, but I think is that even as I'm talking about it, well, you know, makes me sad. It does. But hopefully you guys can, you know, come on to Zoom tomorrow, the Zoom invitation. You'll see it on the Computer Information Systems Google Classroom, and you can wave at me and say, hey, what's up, Mr. Cifaldi, and let me see if that works or not, and ask any questions if you have them. Alright guys, take care and have a good one.